Hello and welcome. Recently, I was part of an audit. We get state audits probably, in theory, once every 2 years, sometimes more often than that. And what happens when we do an audit, just to explain the process to you and why it's valuable to you, is that a state inspector will come in randomly or a government inspector and they'll start demanding things. And we have 1 hour to produce a lot of these documents and they mirror and follow our staff. And the idea is they want to ensure that we're following all the rules and any ways we can do better. These auditors or surveyors see multiple sites in a year, so they're exposed to valuable information in terms of the best method maybe to deal with patient care. After an audit is done, the auditor will say, hey, you did well in these areas, and this is where your deficiencies are, and this is what you should fix in order to run a better operation. If we do really bad, I guess it could close us down, but we've never even been near that close. That's what I want to do on this homework. Everyone did well. Everyone did great. Not well, great. Everyone did really great. Matter of fact, this is the second time I've had to record this video. The first time I recorded this video, I spoke so fast and I was so hyper, I'm sure nobody could probably understand me. And why did I speak fast and why was I hyper? Because every single student in this class has surpassed my expectations. I started grading for 8 hours ago. And I really sat in and looked at everyone's homework and ran each part of each subquery, ran each script. I really looked at this and really evaluated it. And I'm just as happy as ever. Matter of fact, about 11 o'clock or 11:30 a.m., it's 4:30 now, about 11:30 in the morning before lunch, right before lunch, I emailed one of the MIS assistant directors and expressed how pleased I was with everyone's homework. So just to give you an idea of how well everyone's doing phenomenal. I'm not just saying that because during this debrief period is what I would call this. I'm going to call this a homework debrief. I'm going to talk about just some homework assignments I saw, and we're going to go over them and just different ways to come up with the same solution. Other classes, you have a fixed focal point, okay? And what do I mean by that? I teach you about Descartes. Maybe you change Descartes and you repeat it back to me. I teach you differential calculus. I give you a problem and you solve for limits. I teach you about chemistry. It's all the same process. This class is not like that. That's what makes this class exceedingly hard to teach. It also is what makes this class so fun to teach. And this is why this class, I hope, you'll walk away with the most value that you've had from any of your graduate level classes. So everyone did great. I'm super happy with everyone's assignment. There's no way anybody can improve. But let's just talk about some things that I saw, and this maybe will spark some interest in you. So first of all, just a couple notes. Everyone has unlimited submissions before the due date. When I was a student, a lot of times I would just slam out some homework, just get it done quickly so I don't fail, just get it done, submit it. And then throughout the week, I would upload a better version, upload a better version, upload a better version. And by Thursday or Friday, I'd have a good version. But I want to make sure that if something happened, I had a flat tire, somebody needed help, there was a problem at the lab, there's a problem at work, I wouldn't miss out on that assignment. In Web Campus, I only look at your latest assignment, the very last one you submitted. You can submit 15 of them. I don't pay for the storage at Web Campus. I don't care. I don't grade you down for that. I don't think any differently of you. Upload as many submissions as you want. Okay, so that's out there, number one. I think I got one email or two emails on this before it was due. Feel free to email me. Hey, is this okay? Do you have any suggestions? I'm always encourage people to email me if you have questions. I've never really emailed my professors until I really had a question. I always try to figure it out. And when you figure it out, sometimes you grow. Sometimes when you email a professor, you grow. There's just different methods of solving a problem. So feel free to email me. I'm here for you. I want you to succeed. If you do email me and I don't answer within 24 hours, Web Canvas campus me. Some of you have a unlv.nevada.edu email address, and for some reason it gets marked as spam. Very frustrating. Feel free to email me before Friday. I think most assignments are due Sunday. Just give me a day or two before the assignments due, and I'll work with you. I've met a couple of you online. It's all been great, so I'm here to help. I'm going to review a different, some of you did different scenarios. Some of you just submitted one code, said, hey, this is what I had, this is the results, I'm happy. Boom, that works perfect. That does work perfect. I have no problem with that. I love that. Some of you said, hey, I tried A, and it did or did not work. Okay, I got about 10 people that did this. Then I tried B, and then I tried C, and then once I got to C, I revised it to D, and then I revised it to F. That works great. Sometimes they're all chunks of real simple code. That works. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes somebody said, hey, I tried A, it didn't work, so I tried B instead. That kind of worked, but really didn't work, so I tried C, and boom, it worked. They listed the scenarios. That works as well. However you want to do it, that's fine. For this assignment, I ran each chunk of code, and I followed your logic, and I followed your scenarios, or your somebody else got something else. That works as well. Okay, so everyone did this, and however you want to do it is fine. Some people put comments in the text in SQL. So they have a couple lines of SQL, then above or below the SQL, they leave comments. That's fine. That's completely acceptable. Some people put comments in the assignment box. That's completely fine. Some people uploaded a Word document or PDF. I can't really see it, but it's a document or plain text, and said, hey, this is what I did. This is why I did this. As long as I have a couple sentences from you, some people wrote up a page. That's fine also. As long as I have at least a couple sentences from you explaining what you were trying to go for or what you were trying to derive, I'm happy. I don't care if you put it in SQL. I don't care if you put it in a Word document. I don't care if you put it in assignments. Everyone did something like that, and I'm happy. So just please continue to do that. And an example of that is one of the students was looking for, I think, one of the oldest drivable vehicles. If I was just to look, so I looked at the code first. You got a bunch of old vehicles. Are they all old, crappy vehicles? What? Then I'm like, oh, he's like, old drives. Oh, I'm like, oh my God. So I owned a 1975 car a couple years ago. Old cars have a lot of vintage, a lot of value. And once he explained what he was doing, it made perfect sense to me. But just looking at the SQL, I would have been lost. I'm like, what's going on? That's why just a few sentences, hey, I'm looking for an old drivable vehicle. I like vintage cars. The vintage cars have a lot of value. You're going to look at some of these auctions or, Atomic Autos or West Coast Choppers. That's fine. I just kind of need to understand what you guys are doing. Everyone did fine on that. No real suggestions on that. Now, one more point that I really, I cannot emphasize this enough. I know I probably left this on a lot of your comments when I grade your homework. I put a comment on. This is real data. So what does that mean, Richard? Why do I care that this is real data? This is not some college assignment. By the way, I don't do anything with your data. I don't own any, well, I mean, I own 2 cars, but I don't own any car dealerships. I'm not going to use your code for anything. So let's just be clear about that. But this is real data. If some of you found $5,000 or $10,000 differences, that is a real difference. That's not some abstract college course difference. This is a real Craigslist scraping. I downloaded this and it had the link to the actual Craigslist ad. It had an actual picture when it was applicable to the actual Craigslist ad. This is real data. This is real data. When you find a $5,000 savings, that's real $5,000 savings. When you see the difference between 2 states, it's not some theoretical difference. It's real, actionable business intelligence that you could sell your skills to any of these guys on Boulder Highway or any of these car dealerships on Charleston or Sahara. You found actionable, intelligent data. And I'll go even a step further. A lot of what everyone did can be transferred to something else. The projects that you did here for this real data, you could do the same thing for a different line of business. I'll go over that. Somebody found some similar cars, a Corolla and a Civic, but that's very common in the real world. Businesses are trying to evaluate between A and B. What is there a difference? How much of a difference? Is it worth that difference? So every one of you guys can take your projects and slightly change them and have real life business impact. So I'm very, very proud of you. And remember that I feel, at least in this class, that the goal is what's important, not anything. Well, I don't want to say like cheating is not, that's bad, and dishonesty is bad. So integrity is super high on my list, and openness and how you solve a problem is very important, but the goal. Again, each one of you solve this problem differently and considerably differently. I mean, there was 20 some students in this class, and I had at least 15 different methods to find and derive business intelligence. That is amazing. And that just shows why every one of you will be successful, because you're not looking at a cookie cutter solution. You're not just repeating what I'm saying. You are thinking on your own. And I know that if you guys keep doing that, you'll be successful in this class. You'll be successful in the College of Business, and you'll be successful above and all else if you start your own business or you work for somebody else. A boss, any boss, would love what I saw today. Okay, so there's one other thing real quick related to this Excel. One of the students, and this is great too, I encourage this, one of the students used SQL. So they did a basic SQL pull view, and then they did a more advanced analysis in Excel. Well, there's nothing on the homework about it. I don't care. That is great. This is phenomenal. Why? Because again, we all have different tools. We all have different skill sets. But if I can find value in this, I mean, he did SQL or she did SQL, so they did meet the bare minimums of this assignment, but they also used Excel to augment, to add more intelligence to their analysis. Phenomenal. So please don't think you can ever not go above and beyond. There's no requirement to do that. If I could give everyone bonus points, extra points, I would. I'm so impressed with what everyone did. You just, again, I told you, I emailed one of the assistant department chairs about how well and how impressed I am with all the students in this class. And you guys just knocked out the ballpark. Before I get into a couple SQL examples, this database is not case sensitive. I did have to check. So Toyota is the same as this. I can make a case sensitive data set if you guys ever want to play with it. I don't think you guys really do, but if you want to, please let me know. I'll do that. Also, if you want me to do a quick demo of fuzzy logic, fuzzy logic is something that happens a lot in business, and it is what it is. So fuzzy logic is the idea of where we're matching, not direct comparisons. So I have some spam emails somewhere I got, and somehow they misspelled my name. They spelled it Rehard. I don't know why, I don't know how. But instead of saying Richard Young, they send me mail. I get one or two letters every probably week. Some, hey, do you want a new credit card for Rehard Young? So I can use, so if I own a mailing list, I can use fuzzy logic and say, hey, these are the same person. I don't want to spend 50 cents mailing the same letter to the same person. Now, fuzzy logic is a funny thing because it used to be, I'll say 10 years ago, fuzzy logic was really the only or the main solution to matching things, to joining things and matching. Now we don't use fuzzy logic as much. So you can use machine learning and kind of match the things a little bit better than fuzzy logic. Or one of the things that we do, that I've been asked to do a couple times, and it's great, is that you can run fuzzy logic, fuzzy matching in an SQL statement, in an SQL, oh, I don't know why it went up there, but you can actually run it in SQL, okay, and clean up 90% of your data set and just leave the remaining 10% for machine learning, making a much faster, much better process. That's how a lot of businesses do it now. We use fuzzy logic, we'll do left, three, match, we'll do basic fuzzy logic matching in SQL. And then if we have some outliers, we'll move it over to machine learning. But if you guys want to cover that, I don't plan to, but if anybody's interested, I can make a real quick video on that. So let's dive in. And again, what I really, the two things I want you to think about during these examples is how are we getting business value? How are we getting intelligence? How are you, the student? How am I, the teacher? How am I able to use this information to sell something, to buy something, to make money? Number one. And number two, this is just, you should always be thinking about this. How is this in the back of my head? How can I translate this to something else besides cars? Because each one of these projects, each one of these homework examples I'm going to go over, you can use on another project to derive value in your particular field of interest. So real quick, example one I'm going to go over, they use a subquery, but they just looked at cars that below average. Works great. So now, I mean, you're buying it and you're above 50% of the people. They had price by profit, so like a stock. They want to buy cars low and sell high. Easy peasy. Great idea. Example three, they made it easy to understand report. Okay, they use a CTE table, and they found that, I think it was Toyota's, between California and Utah is a $5,000 difference. And remember, this is real data. Why do I tell you this? Because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I bought a used vehicle. I think it was around year 2000. I bought a 2016 vehicle. And I've never been upside down on that vehicle. And that vehicle has been just phenomenally reliable. It's stable. I've had no problems with it. It's been a great vehicle. And I paid considerably less than other vehicles around it. Why? Because I took in factors of color, I took in factors of location, and I got a great deal from a dealership, from Fletcher Jones. And I'm still not upside down on that vehicle. I had that vehicle coming up on 3 years. I think October will be 3 years. I've never been upside down on that vehicle yet. Probably next year I'll be not upside down, but maybe upside down. I'm not sure. But that just goes to show if you use intelligence, you can make your life better and you can make business life better. And so I'm just super happy. This example number 4 looked at different prices in different states. Number 5 is a great example, a different style of car. So hey, I want to look at pickups between Ford and Chevy, or maybe quarter-ton pickups between Ford and Chevy, whatever. It's kind of, they use Corollas and Civics. Number 6 was different cylinder attributes. So let's go into the code here a little bit and let's look at this. And again, this is completely optional, but I just really want you guys to understand how varied and how there's more than one solution, which I know is not always the case in class. You know, so where is example 1? Okay, so here's example 1. Okay, so we're looking at Nissan sedans, and the first thing, I mean, this was really the first one I graded by just random chance. I know it's a subquery. Oops, no, I guess that's fine. Now, subqueries are super common in the business world, out in the real world. Probably about half of half the projects I work on have at least 1 or 2 subqueries. So all this student did was basically get the average price of all the vehicles. Then let me look at Nissans below the average price of all the vehicles. I mean, there may be ways to make it better, but right here, you're better than 50% of the people. You could literally randomly throw a dart and pick one of these vehicles out and be kind of above 50%. I mean, you're doing great. Easy, I mean, a couple lines of code, you're doing better than most. Just making a subquery, looking at average price, right there, and then find all the vehicles, all the Nissans I'm interested in below that price. Great work. Example 2. I think I might have added a line or 2 to this one, but let me just run it real quick. And remember, you're using not only real data, but a real SQL server at Amazon. So this is not something you download to your computer. This is real life experience. I can't express that enough, because that's valuable. It's something you use on your resume, or project or something. So let's see. This student wanted to look at a Chevy Silverado, the max price, the minimum price, the potential profit if I buy low, sell high, and I think I added average prices, so I was curious. Same idea with stocks. Hey, the 52-week low, 52-week high, here's a potential profit if I think it's going to go back up. I mean, why do you think there's multiple reasons why, but why do you think we include 52-week high and low in stocks? I mean, this is how one other way I can apply this. Lumber, we do the same thing in lumber. We look at the low price in lumber versus the high price in lumber over the last couple of years, trying to figure out, hey, is the price of lumber going to go up or down, and how is that going to affect houses? Great example. Number 3, hopefully you guys can kind of see this. This is a CTE table. I didn't cover CTE tables. I think 5 students use CTEs. Great work. I mean, I'm just so impressed. So what is this? This report looked at Toyota sedans, okay, by state. And if I remember this analysis, I think the student emailed me saying, hey, compared Utah to California, there's like a $5,000 difference. I guess I could check really quick and just look at Utah and California, or it doesn't even really matter. So let me just look right here. So Colorado. So we'll grab Colorado, and where's another? What's by Colorado? Oh, we can go to Arizona. Okay, and so right there, there's a almost $2,000 difference, and we've got a decent number of cars. And the nice thing too is this is easy to read. So I know if I'm buying a Toyota sedan and let's see, where's above average? Any of these states, I should be more conscientious of the price. I need to really wash out the price. And vice versa, here, you know, if I'm in, I don't know, Minnesota, South Dakota, I don't know, Rhode Island, I can buy a vehicle cheaper. I literally can buy it on eBay and ship it to me. Because shipping, I don't know, $500 or $1,000 and still be money ahead. I mean, 17,000, 17,000, 15,000, 7,000. That's a $10,000 difference. If I can ship a car from Rhode Island for, let's say, $1,000 even, and let's say I throw $1,000 in repair on it, I'm at 8, 9, 9,000. And if I can sell it for 16,000, you know, there's money here. And there's a lot of different ways to do this. I love the fact that they did above average and below average. That makes it so much easier for me to read, and in essence, a non-computer people to understand. Example 4. Okay, again, we're looking at one car. So let's see here, 2015 Honda Civic. We're looking at different states. Look at that. I know if I'm going to buy a Honda Civic, I'm going to drive my butt up to Oregon, $12,000, and then I'm going to sell it in Kansas for almost $17,000. And so, again, just amazing ways to do this. And this is true with all different things. You know, casinos look at payout tables between different states. We look at the cost of shipping the product from one state to another state versus actually building it or generating it in one state. Labor costs between different states. You know, these are just a few of the things I can think of. What was this one? Let me run this one. Oh, okay, so this is a neat one too. Again, all these have great business value. So if I own a car shop, or if I'm a doctor and I say, hey, you know what, you can take the generic or you can not take the generic, things like that. They're biosimilar. This is the first thing that came to mind when I read this or looked at this. So on a Honda Civic versus a Toyota Corolla, in excellent condition, there's, I'm not good at math, $80 difference, $70 difference. Let's say like 1%, less than 1%. Nobody cares. So if I am a dealership that's trying to sell vehicles that are in excellent condition, it doesn't matter if I pick Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla. However, here's where it gets interesting. If I want to sell to a working family that may be on a more constrained budget, well, look at that one. There's a $4,000 difference. Look at a new price, $10,000 difference. Now, so what I did is I took this and I put it actually in a CTE table and I changed a little bit just to make it a little easier for me to understand this data. Let me run it here real quick. Again, the student that initially made this is the same basic code. I just kind of changed it around a little bit. So we were talking about that. Here we go. The difference between a Toyota Corolla and a Honda Civic in excellent condition is $74. It's less than like 0.1%. I should have done that too. But here's this. So now I know if I have a working family come on my car lot and I say, hey, I have a Toyota Corolla and I have a Honda Civic, and they're like, well, is there anything you do on price? And we just cannot go above $6,000. That's going to kill our budget, blah, blah, blah. I can say, hey, you know what? You can save 10% by switching to the similar car. You save 10%. They're both in good condition. They're both very similar vehicles. I can save you 10%. Now, if we think about this, let me switch back over here to desktop. If we think about this is very common in business, this type of analysis. If we go to X, how much are we going to save? If we go to Y, how much are we going to lose? What is the difference in the consumer value? If you want a name brand drug, you pay $50. If you want a generic drug, you pay $2. If you want a brand name drug, you pay $200. You want a generic, it's $150. Completely different comparison. Every one of these type of comparisons can be translated into different levels of business intelligence in terms of outside of cars. And please keep that in mind. I think I have one more, and then I'll let you go. Again, this is an optional video, so feel free to hit me up on anything. Oh, this is attributes. I love this one. Oh, somebody also did a depreciation kind of table. I love that, and I should have included that in here. They were talking about trucks, and I kind of changed the code a little bit. But if I own a small business, let's say I own a pool cleaning company or pest control, I get pest control around my house, and they drive Toyotas, but I want to know, or they want to know, because they have like 15 vehicles, is there a better time to sell my vehicle? Or here's another example. iPhone 15 just came out, yesterday? I have an iPhone 12 or 13, I don't even know what I have. Is it a good time to sell now? Is it a good time to sell before the phone is actually released? Is it a good time to sell in December? How does the depreciation of an iPhone change over time? They did the same thing with Ford F-150 trucks, I think it was, or maybe F-250. Great. Actually, I'm going to probably do that analysis today. I'm going to see if I can get eBay data and see if I can look at the difference on depreciations in iPhone over time. So this one, sorry to go off on that tangent. This one, again, another one I love. I love all of these. This one looked at the difference in cylinders, 4, 6, and 8 cylinders. Okay, and you see we have a good sized data set, 70,000, 90,000, 70,000. And they looked at the price, and then this was one I think they made a couple different SQL codes. At the end of the day, this is what they came up with, and it really does make a lot of sense to me. There's a lot of business intelligence there. A lot of the 8-cylinder vehicles are trucks. Trucks are generally more expensive. You notice there's only 1.6% of trucks have a 4-cylinder, like a Ford Ranger, I believe a Mazda V2000. I had one of those. It was a 4-cylinder truck. They're very rare, and that is why 4 cylinders are generally overall cheaper, considerably cheaper. But then again, trucks are more expensive sometimes, most of the times, and they mostly have 8 cylinders. What about 6 cylinders? How does it land? When you see 6 cylinders lands in the middle of the price, 6 cylinders land in the middle of the odometer reading. And so, so if I look at this, V8s, SUVs, 13% of V8s, or let me rephrase, 13% of my V8 data is SUVs. Okay, 26% of my V8s are trucks. However, if I'm looking at 4 cylinders, 26% of my SUVs are 4 cylinders. Almost, over 42% are sedans. So again, understanding these attributes are super important. When I talked about the STAR schema, when I talk about different databases, these are again kind of attributes, and this would be the facts. Hey, the fact is an 8-cylinder car, a 6-cylinder car. These are attributes of that 8-cylinder. I really, really appreciate everyone doing so well on your homework. Please, please keep up all the good work. I cannot express enough to you that if you continue doing this greater work, you'll be highly successful in business intelligence in this class, and you'll be highly successful outside this class. And in business, nobody's there to teach me how to do things. Nobody's there to kind of handhold me to get to my solution. I have a solution. I have to find or derive knowledge, and nobody's really there to they might kind of point me in the right direction, but even there, that's kind of rare. All your solutions, all your answers were very, very diverse and very, very different, and they were all great. And I really appreciate everyone doing such a great job. Again, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.